do
All
it.
right. Let's do a little transition to League One as I try to pull up the correct video, and here we go.
Chattanooga is remarkable because of the way they can turn a defensive structure into quick chances. Here you see the shape of their 5-4-1, 3-4-3-ish press, but note the way it protects the field on multiple levels. The arrangement of the forwards denies central progression towards that midfield zone, while the compression of the back line makes it hard to penetrate between the lines. Here, that means Tormenta has to reset. Eventually, they're going to go frustrated, as many opponents of the Red Wolves do. But as soon as Chattanooga gets back on the ball, they're breaking up field. Al Hassan is making a run up into the final third as soon as he eyes space. Pedro Hernandez is following up, and it's a game-winning goal. This is Scott McKenzie ball at its best.
Well said.
And it is absolutely going at its best because Chattanooga finds himself sitting in third. Turns out that Eamon Zaya guy was pretty smart because he told us to watch out for the Red Wolves in our preseason matchup, and I scoffed because I thought there's no way anybody on this team could muster up anything higher than second to last. Boy, is Scott McKenzie just awesome at building these dirty, defensive, just very structured teams. And this is a Tormenta team that early on, they were scoring goals. They were fun. They had a lot going on. They had defensive deficiencies, but that's why they and Richmond were in the middle of every single chaos match ever. That if you were turned on a Tormenta or Richmond match, they were going to score 2 to 5 goals, and they were going to give in 2 to 5 goals. Tormenta was not able to break down this Richmond team. This Chattanooga team. They get 1 goal, but that's it. This has been a very structured Chattanooga squad where, Alex, I'm just going to ask you, can they keep getting away with this?
You know, I keep hesitating to say yes, that it can be sustained through a long season. Is the depth that strong? It's not as bad as we thought. The defense, as long as the defense remains healthy, Declan Waters, I think he's one of the best center backs in the league. He was last year as well. He was like one of the bright spots on that team last year. Eric Knenzer, he's outstanding. I'm feeling better about Chattanooga by the day, and I was also one of the ones who had them second to last in my preseason predictions. Now, I just want to point out that, to be fair, in this match, it should have been a draw.
With Bazzini.
Bazzini did miss that penalty kick, unfortunately. But yeah, the Scott McKenzie ball, that Pedro Hernandez goal was just that's what you expect when you watch Chattanooga right now.
Well, I'm going to be very interested in how the Chattanooga Burnley FC Red Wolves are going to do against this next match against Madison. Is they haven't won 3 games in a row against USL 1 opposition since September 2020 when Tenet was in movie theaters. Like, the last time they've won back-to-back games against USL 1 opposition was September 2023. Like, this has been quite a long time since we've seen a Chattanooga team be consistently good.
Yeah, they're not in our predictions this week, but I think that one is probably there. I don't think they're going to win that one, but I also don't think they're going to lose it. I think it's a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw.
Well, it is.
I would almost bet on it.
So somebody has to win.
It's also Madison.
It's also but
a Madison team who's
has
drawn their last 5 in a row. Yeah. That's a USL 1 record, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a lot to break down on that one. I mean, if it goes to penalties, do you not back Chattanooga at this point?
Oh, they've been in all of them. Absolutely.
When you're looking at this Tormenta squad, though, Alex, for me, I just find myself saying they keep making the same old mistakes that they did last year. Because when I look at the names on the roster, I think they're a really good team. And I think Ian Cameron's a really good coach. And I never understand why it doesn't work. because I believe in every single part of the project except for when they step on the field.
Yeah, I think he has acknowledged this week that there is a little bit of a reset coming with this roster, shuffling things around. But I think there will also be the second one this season. Do we see Sebastian Vivas step back in? He struggled early on this season. You're right. Like you look at the names on this roster and they should be playing at a much higher level than they are right now.
And if you're looking at Tormenta's next match, it's coming up against another team that's arguably looking for a win, honestly, probably more desperately than Tormenta is, with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That could provide a very good chance to have either a reset match, or you're going to have the loser of that game kind of wondering, it's like, well, where do we go from here?
By the way, Alex, to kind of go to your point about the reset, I want to read a quote that comes from a good friend, Luke Martin, where he said, and this is the full quote, "It's easier to counterattack. It's easier to create chances that way. And we've got to have a wholesale look at if our game model is the right thing." Cameron said following the match, "I've been pretty strident in the last few years that it is. I've been trying to teach the boys to control the ball, have a high percentage of possession, but the reality is at this level, you see it across the board, that when teams have 68% plus possession, I think tonight was 75%, then they rarely win at this level, and it's really frustrating, and it's a real challenge." Cameron said that he and his staff will need to evaluate going forward the right approach to win games as they try to put it into the losing skid. As a staff, we need to reassess and say, is that methodology the right methodology? Do we need to be brave in this moment and stick with it and just get better, or do we need to do a wholesale adaptations? Thank you to Luke Martin, who does amazing work with Storm Chaser, just incredible content out Tormenta. So thank you, Luke, for that. But I think that's a fascinating proposition of Cameron has said that over years now, they've seen that teams who maintain possession don't win in this league. Yet he's been very hard-headed in trying to hold possession and play beautiful, pretty football. And he has the players to do it, but it just simply doesn't work. I mean, look at Chattanooga. I mean, Ryan made the Burnley. I mean, Scott McKenzie is Sean Dyche, right? And that's what I heard preseason, is that Chattanooga is going to play Dyche ball. They're doing it. What does that say to you, Alex, that Cameron's assessed the problem for years now and refused to fix it?
Yeah. There, is a reckoning coming? Doubtful. I don't see them doing anything with Cameron midseason, especially with Tormenta's, But yeah, I mean, like, what do you do about that? Besides change, and if you've gone this long and haven't changed, you've got the pieces, you've got the awareness. I think we do need to see, some major shakeups in the way he forms that roster, because 76% possession and you have one shot on target, not working.
Yeah. Well, let's move on, Ron, unless you have something to say about this one. I want to go on to Westchester and Richmond, probably the most exciting match that we got, because Westchester, baby, you did it again. It's 2-0. We're riding high. We're having a great time at home. And then Darwin Espinal gets a goal. And then 1 minute after halftime, Richmond gets another goal. And it's 2-2. You've blown another lead. You're so excited about what you did, and you blow another lead. Alex, obviously, this is your club. You know everything that's going on with Richmond. We've really talked about how Richmond has arguably the best attack in the league, but they kind of ship goals for fun at times. Westchester's entering the same conversation of they are really good going forward right now, but they refuse to hold on to a lead. Is this just too great attacks with two middling defenses, or should we give a lot more credit to Richmond for coming back?
I do think Richmond deserves some credit for coming back. This is a Richmond team that was playing Tormenta ball last year, heavy on the possession and getting burned in the transition a lot. And this year they've kind of flipped the script, and they're the ones doing the burning. And should they have given up those early goals? Yeah, I don't know. Like Westchester they also have a relentless offense, and a leaky defense. So I mean, like, you look at these two teams that they've played twice now, 12 goals in 2 matches, 4-4, 2-2. They're I think they're two very evenly matched teams here.
Ryan?
I will say them going up the 2 goals and then conceding one all in the first half hour, cashed over 2.5 goals, fairly easy for this one. But if you're looking at it from Westchester's perspective, not being able to hold a lead has cost them points. The last 4 games that they've played, they've scored first and had to basically settle for either a draw or they lost. Like, if you add in those points back, like, they could be potentially sitting as high as 4th in the league right now. And yet here we are kind of through the first kind of quarter of the year, and they're second bottom right now with only Omaha beneath them. It's something that they need to get figured out kind of moving forward, because this is a fun team to watch try and attack. They scored multiple goals in numerous games this year, but their defense has let them down.
Alex, we talked a lot about Richmond this year. Everybody knows that I'm a believer in what they're doing. I think that they're one of, if not the most fun team to watch. I didn't say best team, I said fun, because every matchup they're in is going to be a high-scoring affair, and it's going to be a great time, and their attack is real, and the pieces that they have are fun. But I want to ask you about Westchester. As a new club, they are a new club in the end. Do you think they have a bit of that gumption? Do you think they have it in them to come back from this deficit? Because they have experienced players, but the club itself is new. Or do you think that this is just a lost cause of a year? They just have to accept that even though they have talented players, it just didn't happen this year.
I would absolutely not say it's a lost cause for Westchester, given the level of talent and given Dave Carton's tutelage under Mike Jeffries in Charlotte. Yeah, it's not a lost cause. I do think that they're gonna bounce back very quickly over the next few weeks. They know what they need to do, and they've got the talent.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and move on really fast unless Ryan has something for this one.
I want to give one. Sorry,
Go
can I give one last thing on this match? Matt Bolduc scored that goal. This is a guy who last year this time was watching the games with the Red Army in the breweries as a free agent. Spent last year just training, training his ass off, and came back into the league as a pro, and scored this goal. It was a great moment for Richmond and for all the fans who just absolutely exploded at the watch party when that happened. He's very well loved in the city. He never really left it when he left Richmond and went to Nisa for that 1 year. He still called Richmond home and would show up at the games. Like, he's one of us.
That's awesome to hear. That's really cool to hear. I want to give a shout out, because we're not going to talk about you today, but shout out to the Double Birds for going on allegedly a winning streak. 2 is a streak over Greenville. We can talk about Greenville maybe later in our open floor, but shout out to the Double Birds. But I want to talk about Union Omaha versus FC Naples. FC Naples has come out as one of the best teams in the league. They have shown to be stout. They can take down some of the best in the championship, a la Charleston and the Jägermeister. But if you are a neutral or you're someone who doesn't follow League One, you're probably looking at Omaha and saying, oh my gosh, what's going on there? Like, what is happening? They're the best team ever. How could they possibly be rock bottom? Alex, they lose 3-1. Are you worried about Union Omaha?
it's not the first time this has happened with Omaha. Starting on a downslide and then bouncing right back and going on a massive lossless streak. But yeah, I mean, they need to score goals. They have some obvious holes in their roster from free agents and some pretty major injuries. They trying to replace Luca Mastrantonio and Pedro de la Bella and Steven Dos Santos, Lagos Kunga, Blake Malone. I mean, it's just those are some big shoes. And, I like we said earlier, I think this is also a team that has the pieces and the coaching to get it back together. Is this rock bottom? I mean, this could be rock bottom right now, and then it's only up from here. But then you're playing in Naples is tough for anybody except for Naples. They just dominate at home. They haven't done so hot on the road, but that's a tough environment for every team in the league that's been there so far.
Would it almost be a fair assessment to say that Omaha, over these last 3 games that they've played, the 2-2 against Portland, the loss against Texoma, and the loss against Naples, that Omaha's been getting kind of FM'd, if you will, because they had 71% possession against Naples in their defeat. They had 62 against Texoma. They had 65 against Portland, and still weren't able to generate 3 points out of that. It seems like they've been almost getting more unlucky than a team typically should.
I think from what I'm seeing is a team that, and I don't like to make it this simple, but where would they be with the Pedro de la Bella? How much different would it be? Joe Gallardo is still incredible, still one of the best players in the league. We haven't really seen what Prosper Kasim can be there yet. Sergio Aris hasn't really shown it yet. Aaron Gomez hasn't really shown it yet. Brandon Knapp is one of the best in the league. Max Schneider, one of the best in the league. You look at their back line and you think you like what you see in the back line, but it's a different team than you're used to seeing. And they lost a lot of talent. But in the end, you have the pieces, you have what's there. You think that you would like it. And I'm not worried. Alex, you mentioned it already. They only won, I think it was 3 of their first 13 in Dom Cachetta's first year. And then they never lost another game. They went 20 something unbeaten. They just refused to lose. This is a team that can just flip it on its head and say, nah, we're tired of losing. We'll just win now.
Yeah, the defense is what I think is a lot more worrying. I think the offense will probably figure it out, but the defense is a little bit, it's shaky and undisciplined. And rotate, and it's except for Brett Kallman, it seems to be kind of a rotating cast. I don't know. 12 goals conceded, giving up 1.7 per match.
Ryan, open floor from you. Do you have anything?
Just that I correctly called Texoma to score first against Greenville over the past weekend, and it's gonna, I guess, I know we spoke on it a little bit earlier, but I'm still gonna kind of go back to the drum that, yeah, I am still a little worried about the Triumph this year.
I'm getting really worried about the Triumph this year. They're making moves, impact moves, but they need to figure it out fast. For the Double Birds of Texoma, Avi Garcia had a heck of a last 20 minutes, 30 minutes. He makes the big save where he's diving, palms it away. This is after he takes a collision and literally can't take a goal kick. Like, he tries a goal kick, does not get more than 2 feet off the ground, luckily goes straight to a Texoma player. The very next goal kick, outfield player takes the goal kick, and they keep passing the ball back to Avi Garcia. And every single time they would do it, the player would put his hand up and say, "I'm sorry, I know you can't kick a ball right now," basically apologizing as he's passing the ball back, as they are instructed to do. He was fighting for his life and was having to make big saves at the very end. And they had a couple of moments, Greenville did, but I mean, you cannot underestimate the amount of dog that is in Javi Garcia, because dude was absolutely going through it and kept his team in that match.